Hi, everyone, and welcome to Caramel Unfiltered. I'm Samantha Fulling. Take a seat, grab some coffee, and come be unfiltered with me on Caramel Unfiltered, my platform, my perspective. So, before I start, I just want to say I do have a cold. I may have to cut this up kind of choppy this week. I'll probably be stopping to sneeze and cough and whatever other disgusting bodily functions decide to come out of me. So, I apologize in advance. But let's get started with this week's episode. So I want to start with the misconception that I hate teachers. This has been asked of me quite a few times, usually by staff members, normally after I speak, and I always feel so bad about it because that's not how I want to come off, but I do understand why this misconception is out there. So I do want to clear things up. I am not anti-education. I'm not anti-employee. I am not anti-Carmel Central School District staff, teachers, none of that. I just hate systems that protect incompetence. And I hate contracts that prioritize paychecks over kids. And I do speak very forcefully about it. And honestly, that's probably part of the problem, that I don't lead with politeness. I lead with urgency and sometimes a little too much sass. I won't apologize for it, though. Before we go any further, I do have a little disclaimer, and I want to say this clearly, that this is my platform and my perspective. This is my lived experience as a parent and as a stakeholder. I do not claim to represent every parent or person in this district. I speak from what I've seen, what I've experienced, and what my children have lived. Advocacy is not quiet, and it's not always comfortable, and it definitely doesn't always sound nice. So just please be aware of this as we venture through this episode. I am going to be bringing out some props in a second that are generally well known within the, I would say, the Board of Education audience community. And this is not to stir things up in the past. This is just to give people a general idea of how we got here, how I got here. These are an important piece of my history that led to this moment. And I am talking about the t-shirts. So I started creating the t-shirts in 2024 when I first began more regularly speaking at Board of Education meetings. I did my first initial 2 in 2023 and then really jumped back into it in late winter, early spring of 2024. So the t-shirts came to be because back then during public comment, you weren't allowed to mention any district employee names, whether positive or negative. That rule has since changed, you now can. But in 2024, there were no rules about what I could wear. So I got creative, and I want to give a quick shout out to my t-shirt maker, Jess. Thank you. She's great. So, just to be clear, the t-shirts were never about personal vendettas. It really was about visibility and accountability, and I just wanted these people to be held accountable for the shitty things that they did. I don't think it's too much to ask. So, I have decided while I'm going through these shirts that I'm not going to be mentioning names out loud. I just don't think that there's a point to it. You can read them. If you already know the history of these shirts, you've already read them. It just seems redundant and like I'm stirring up old crap from 2-3 years ago, and I just don't want to. So I am here to talk about patterns, and I'm here to talk about systems, and I'm here to talk about impact. I don't want to turn this into a name-by-name spectacle. I think visibility and accountability are what matters, and not creating a witch hunt. While I personally believe public shaming can get more done than silence, that's not what I want this platform to be. I want it to be about advocacy and the betterment of this district. So the shirts represent systemic failure, not random hatred. Just pointing that out. When I bring out these shirts, I'm not attacking a profession. I am pointing to patterns, and I'm pointing to contracts that make it nearly impossible to remove staff who should not be working with children. So, fun fact, I did have all these folded up nice and neat and went through this entire script and then realized I never hit record. So now these t-shirts are all messed up and it's going to take me a few minutes to reorganize. So again, if this is jumpy, I'm sorry. All right, so Shirt number 1. This is the very first shirt I ever wore to a board meeting. Okay. So this is the teacher from that I had referenced in my intro video, the one from my son's ESY program that he recorded, and he just did terrible fucking things to him. And this is the back, and that's a nod to allegedly he went on medical leave shortly after the 2023 school year started. I did hear rumors. I don't know if those rumors are fact, so I'm not going to repeat them. I'll just say I don't believe he was actually on medical leave. The second t-shirt, Carmel Central School District, has the 6 C's. And although I think they're adorable, I don't think that very many people actually truly live by them. And by people, I'm not talking about the students in the district. So I made a 6 C's shirt, and they were not nice C's. There are 2 names at the bottom. Again, I'm not going to read. One is the teacher, one is a former board member. So, but it does say the 6 C's: corrupt, clueless, cruel, cowardly. And there you go for your viewing pleasure. The next shirt is a quote from the video that my son recorded with the teacher in the first shirt. I often have to ignore what is on an IEP. That is a direct quote. Now you see why maybe I was a little cranky that the DASA was unfounded. I think I'm hysterical. I don't care if you agree. I know I'm funny. Kids are greater than paychecks. I'm not giving any context to these shirts either as I present them. I think if you know, you know. If you don't and you want to know, you could probably figure it out. And this is the last one. This is a sweatshirt. Accountability does not equal bullying. I have been accused of bullying teachers. Can't take accountability. So that's them. They are cathartic for me. It's just kind of what helped me get through the really crappy moments dealing with this district. But what I will say, and I do want to point out, have you noticed I haven't been at board meetings wearing t-shirts since, God, last spring? There hasn't been a need because there hasn't been an issue. Because every person currently working with me and my kids is a genuinely logical, nice, decent human being. Weird. All right, I'll stop being sarcastic. I'm sorry. I'm not that sorry. But now that show and tell is done and you're all saying, yeah, this girl definitely hates teachers, let's shift gears and talk about the teachers in my life who I love, respect, and still think of as some of my greatest mentors and those who shaped me. But my favorite teachers. Ugh. My 7th grade science teacher taught me to respect and appreciate every living creature. My 8th grade history teacher taught me to question the hypocrisy of past and current world leaders, which probably explains a lot. My teachers at the Carmel Alternative High School, they taught me to take responsibility for my words, my actions, and myself. So you two, if you ever got mad at me over the past couple of years, you have no one to blame but yourselves. Just saying. My junior and senior English teachers gave me a passion for literature. Oh, I love these two so much. I was always so comforted by them. They were just such real, genuine human beings, and I loved them, and I still do to this day. They taught me that open dialogue and hearing different perspectives is how growth happens. Side note, I just ran into one of these people at my son's wrestling match a few weeks ago, and he looks exactly the same. And I was really happy that I got to see him. I got to let him know that I appreciated his presence and his love for teaching, and I will absolutely never forget this man. My junior and senior history teacher taught me that having a reason behind any argument is the foundation of a good debate. This teacher was also incredibly funny. in a very no-nonsense way. This might give him away, I'm not sure. I fondly remember him snorting if he if he thought he was losing the class or making his voice crack randomly, like Peter Brady cracking throughout the lesson. And my most important teacher has been my mom. She is a special ed teacher and has been since I was a baby. She's now in more of an administrative position, but still works in the same school. She taught me how to advocate. Funny enough, advocating didn't always come easy for me. Self-advocating or advocating for anyone. I was a big crier. Big crier, couldn't get an argument out without bursting out into tears. And my mom was the opposite. She was very forceful, so that's probably where I got this from. So, did I prove my point? I don't hate teachers. Good teachers built who I am today, and I love and thank all of them for it every single day. Even if we butted heads, even if I didn't always like them, even if it took me till I was an adult to realize the lessons that they were trying to teach me, they did their jobs and they were good at it. But this also isn't just about me. So these are teachers from my past. Let's talk about my kids' current teachers. My oldest is done with school, but he's had amazing teachers. His kindergarten teacher was one of the most caring people I've ever met. My older son missed almost 3 weeks of school after an emergency surgery, and for anyone that's had a kid in kindergarten within the past 15 years knows that, kindergarten is like prepping you for med school. It's not snacks and naps like when we were kids. But anyway, he missed a lot of instruction time, and we were stressed trying to catch him up. And his teacher was so chill about the whole thing. He told us to take our time. He didn't care. We had Christmas break that was coming up. We could, get through what we could get through. I don't even know if we ended up making up all the work, but he finished kindergarten and he was fine. But that man was just so genuinely kind and understanding throughout that entire crazy process. My oldest 4th grade teacher was also truly amazing. I sent her an email one day after I forgot to put his planner back in his backpack, and her rule was you forget your planner or it's not signed, you have to stay in for recess. And he was crying in the car when we were at the bus stop and we didn't have time to go back to get the planner. And I'm gonna have to stay in. So I emailed her and I was like, listen, I'll come in for recess if you just let him go. This is my fault. And she goes, yeah, sure, come hang out with me. I didn't. I probably should have. I probably would have had a good day. I was just appreciative that she understood that kids and parents can make mistakes and you can still give them grace. It's not the end of the world. My younger son has had a plethora of amazing staff. Let's not mince words. These people from kindergarten until this year have been amazing. And I have told every single one of them that they are amazing. But it's not just teachers for him. He's also had great teacher assistants, those that have bent over backwards to help him in areas that he struggled with. He has had amazing principals. You know what? I am going to mention their names. Brian Piazza, Carrie Weltman, and Ali Golan. You three deserve a Nobel Peace Prize for the shit you put up with. Truly wonderful human beings who genuinely want to help kids. I won't mention anyone else's names, but you three were not getting off scot-free. And then my daughter, she's in 2nd grade, and the women that she's had, kindergarten, 1st and 2nd, I couldn't have asked for better teachers. I don't think there's anything scarier at elementary age than walking into a classroom and your teacher being mean. It's terrifying. I had a horrible 3rd grade teacher, and I have trauma from that. So I'm truly thankful that my daughter has had the women that she's had. Her current teacher this year, I volunteered in this woman's classroom twice so far this year, and it's so funny. With my husband, I drag him with me. It's fun. But before you even walk up to the classroom door, you're right down the hall from our classroom. You just hear the chaos in there. Now, granted, both times I volunteered, both times have been for holiday parties. So yes, it's crazy, but she lets them roll, and she's so good with them. Now, for the people on my shirts, I don't hate you. I don't hate you at all, actually. I do feel really bad for you, though. And just remember, this is my hot take. You don't have to like it. You don't have to agree with it. It is my hot take. I feel bad that you're so angry and so miserable in your personal lives that you failed at the number one thing that you get paid to do, and that is to educate students. And I'm truly sorry, and I can empathize with you if years of bad administrators who didn't have your back turned you in to these horrible people. But that's not my fault, and that's not my kid's fault, and it's not any student's fault. The system broke you just as much as it broke us, but I'm still going to hold you accountable. Some of you should not be working with kids. Some of you retired and should never step back foot into a classroom. And to the people who aren't on my shirts, just because you haven't interacted with my children doesn't mean you haven't impacted a child that I care about. So just know that I see you too. And I hear about the tears in the hallways and the temper tantrums in the classrooms. And you're just as bad, even if you haven't found your way on one of these yet. I see the systems that protect you, and that's what I hate. I hate the systems. Now, to the staff of Carmel Central School District, I want to make this clear. I respect great educators, and I truly do recognize that burnout is real. I understand workloads are overwhelming, but children, all children, deserve safe, emotionally regulated adults in their classrooms. Accountability is not hatred. Advocacy is not cruelty. Discomfort is not harm. I will always support strong teachers, and I will always speak when systems fail kids. Now, what I want to do is answer some frequently asked questions. Some of these have been asked to me before. Some of these I'm kind of anticipating I might be asked. I'm just going to run through them now. If your question's not on here and you still want to ask me, you can reach out to me. My contact info will be at the end of this video, and then it will be in the description. Do I hate teachers? No. Why be public? Because quiet channels failed. Am I attacking a profession? No. Hard jobs do not excuse harm. Why the t-shirts? Visibility. What is my goal? A district that centers students over contracts. I don't expect perfection. I do expect responsibility. Am I trying to divide parents and teachers? No. In fact, I think if we had a better understanding of each other's perspectives, we could probably get back to student-focused education. Does this hurt the district's reputation? I think what hurts the district's reputation more is shitty people in positions of power. Why not handle this privately? I've tried. I have, and many of us have tried, but public dialogue happens when private channels fail. Are most teachers bad? I don't even think a speck of our teachers in this district are bad. Not even a speck. But you do have a bunch of rotten apples, and it's spoiling the rest of you. Are my kids at risk because I speak up? Well, retaliation is real. I don't think silence protects children. I think courage does. So if you're concerned, keep receipts, but keep going. What do I want from parents? I want engagement, I want awareness, and I want for you to support strong educators and the courage to speak up when something feels wrong. What if I disagree with you? Then you disagree with me, and that's fine. And if we can have a conversation about why you disagree with me, let's have it. So in closing, Parents, teachers, administrators, we all say we want kids to succeed. The difference is whether we're willing to confront what's broken. So, one episode at a time, one t shirt at a time, I will speak, I will advocate, and I will hold systems accountable. Not because I hate teachers, but because I refuse to stay quiet while kids pay the price. Just a reminder that this podcast is my platform. It is not affiliated with, sponsored by, or endorsed by Carmel Central School District or any employee or volunteer of CCSD. Views are mine or my guests. These aren't always easy topics, but they matter. If this episode gave you something to think about, share it and help keep your community informed. And if you or someone you know has a topic that deserves attention or wants to share their experience, you can message me or email me at carmelunfiltered@gmail.com. I'm Samantha Fulling. This is Carmel Unfiltered, my platform, my perspective. Until next time.